Yeah, hello. Yes, Pramod.
Yeah, sir, means you are saying कि if I have post a policy on any interface, by default it will be saved. Means we did not require to write it.
Right. Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
if we have configured any wrong thing, wrong policy, is there any option to roll back the same within a timeline?
No. So, like, there are two type of wrong configuration. One is like you need to pass the VLAN number 10 on this interface, right? But you have passed VLAN number 20,
No.
right? In that case, you can modify this configuration.
Yeah, but
Right.
if
So,
we have created some means we
but
have
there is
created.
another configuration. Let's suppose the interface speed here can be only 10 gig, can't be 40 gig or anything, but you have pushed that configuration which is 40 gig. So that configuration itself will not be pushed to the leaf, and there will be a fault generated in the epic.
Okay.
So that fault will give you that information. Hey, you are trying to pass that configuration on this interface, and it can have only 10 gig, but you are configuring a 40 gig. So it gives you a much more detail. It will
Okay.
not left you like the configuration is not pushed, something like that, but it will give you other information as well,
Mhm.
like why the configuration is not
No,
pushed.
I'm asking for examples. Means if we need to be delete any specific APG, okay, or application profile, but
Uh-huh.
by mistake we have deleted another one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at that time, any options it will be available means to roll back
Okay, so
within a
you are
timeline.
asking like that. Okay, so there this is the thing, right? So if this database which you are configuring, right, this the database is on the epic. So what you are saying, you have configured a EPG here, EPG you have configured here. Now by mistake you have deleted this EPG, right? So if you have deleted this EPG, it means that EPG will also be deleted from this database, and there is no way you can recover this database. But if you are taking a backup of your configuration, you are taking a snapshot of your ACI fabric, then you can take you, but you need to log in into that location to give me that file.
Okay, so you will
Yeah,
guide now how we can take snapshot or backup of the ACI.
definitely yes. We'll cover that thing.
What is the
Okay.
process of recover that point?
Sorry, Nishan, what is the process of
Recover that point.
recover that EPG, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it means so Epic, you will on the Epic you will say, hey, I want to save my configuration somewhere in the FTP, right? Some other database. FTP or SFTP or some other outside remote location you will save. So you will call to that file, which is latest file or the last saved configuration file, and apply those changes on the Epic. If you're applying, then your EPG will be restored.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so you need to save that configuration to some outside FTP or SFTP or some other remote location.
Okay. Okay. So please means tell us process how we can means
Yeah,
take
definitely
backup
will
of.
do that. Right. So okay. Yeah. So yeah, that is all we discussed yesterday about the Epic. And the Epic function as well we discussed, right? The configuration we discussed, perform the configuration. It means if you want to do any configuration of this interface or this interface, you can't do basically login to the leaf directly. You need to log into the Epic, and Epic will push this configuration. Apart from that, it does also the fabric monitoring, fabric inventory and monitoring, and application monitoring and switch image management. So if you want to upgrade the switch here, um, you can do basically from the out of band, but it's not the recommended way. A recommended way is through the Epic, push that image to this leaf and then upgrade it, right? So that is the recommended way. And so the thing is, like, every whatever you want to do on this leaf or on the spine, don't do directly jump on the leaf, do it from the Epic, right? So that is the functionality which Epic provides. Now, yeah, so that's how the Epics are connected. Obviously you will not have a single Epic in the your fabric. You will have a three Epic in a cluster. Now the Epic, like, there are two links connected to the Epic. So this is the Epic. One is connected to the leaf switch 1, another is connected to the leaf switch 2. One link is active, another one is standby. right? It's not like both of the link is active and both of the link is like they are in a port channel or something like that. So one link is active, another one is standby. Now why it is important is like today we are going to discuss that in more detail, because in the fabric discovery that thing matters, right? Now how the leaf and spine are connected together. So in the leaf there are 6 uplink ports, and then you can connect to the spine basically. Okay, so this is all we discussed yesterday, right? So there is something called the epic, majority, and minority concept as well. Like there should be a 3 epic. Now, I want to ask one question to the yesterday, right? Yesterday who were in the class, Darshan and Nishant. No,
Me
Nishant was
also
not
there.
there. Yeah.
Me and Darshan might be.
Okay. Yeah. So yesterday we asked like one thing, right? There should be a 3 epic. So the majority is 2. Now let's suppose there are 4 epic. I'm that kind of a customer who don't listen to anything, or just I deployed 4 epic, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the 4 epic, 4 epic, if let's suppose if the 2 epic goes down, can I do the configuration? Can I write down the configuration?
Yes, because
Yes.
we have 2 epics.
No, for the 4, what is the majority? Is it 2 is the majority, or 3 is the majority? For
So
a
if
4
it-
epic
two
cluster,
are down, then 2 is a majority.
no, so it's not like 2 are in so out of 3, so out of
Okay.
3 cluster, 2 is the majority, right? It means
Uh-huh.
at a time 2 should be up. So out of 4, what is the majority? 3. So it means at least 3 should be up in to be in a majority, right? So if epic 3 and epic 4 can talk to each other, but they will say, hey, our cluster size is 4. For a 4, the majority is 3,
Mhm.
right? If the 3 epics are up, then only they can do the configuration. So that's why even though for the 4 epic, if the 2 epic goes down, you will have only the read access, you will not have the write access. So that's the reason Cisco recommend to go with the 3 epic, don't go with the 4 epic, right? If you need a more number of epic, go with the 5 epic. So if you go with the 5 epic, right? Epic 1, epic 2,
No,
One
if
epic,
out of 5, you said 3 is a majority, right?
yeah, out of 5, 3 is the majority.
No,
So it means if the
what if 3 went down, then 2 remain up, then
there is no majority. You can't do any read, or you can't do any write to the database.
okay, so we can't do. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So just always think like for the 3, if there are 3 guys, right? What would be the majority? Majority would be 2, right? So it means at a time 2 epics should be remain up.
And then one more thing, Deepak. So
Yeah.
do we need to define the majority number anywhere? This is
No, you will define the cluster size. You while deploying the epic, right? Epic, let's suppose you are on the epic number 1, right? You are on this epic number 1. So while deploying epic number 1, it will ask you what is your cluster size. It's your cluster size is 3, 4, 5, and up to 11. You can configure it.
cluster means how many epics we have, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So
Uh,
on that
one more
basis,
thing.
it will pick up the odd number as a majority, like 5 in 3, 7 as a 5, right?
Yeah. For the 7, 4, right? 4 is the majority.
4 is a majority. Okay, okay, okay.
So it's not like odd number, but you need to think about the majority. So for the 7, 4 is the majority. For 8, 5 is the majority. For the 9, 5 is the majority again.
Okay, if number less than majority, then we can't do
You
anything.
can't do that. Yeah. So if the number of the epic which are less than the majority, you can't do any write access. You can't do any configuration.
Okay.
One more thing, sir. See, you have told
Yes.
na minimum 3 epic is required in infra. So how maximum epic can be used in
11.
infra? 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
11 epic can be in a cluster.
Okay.
And
Maximum.
they keep on changing. Earlier it was 9, but with 5.2 release, they make, with the 5.0 release, they make it 11. So it's a software thing basically, how they are managing it. But you can check basically that thing in the on the Cisco site. But as of now it's 11. As of now it's 11. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. Actually, if we have suppose 5 epic, and
Mhm.
three were down. Now
Yeah.
3 is down. So we cannot do the we cannot do the configuration from these epic, right?
Right. The two which are epic, you can't do the
But
configuration. Yes.
now 3 is down. That's okay. And now I want to do some configuration changes on emergency basis. So how will I do?
So you want to, so the thing is, if let's suppose 5 epic, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So you are saying if the 3 goes down, let's suppose epic 1, 2, and 3 goes down, 4 and 5. So for the 5, the majority is 3, right? Do I have 3 epic up? No, I have only 2 epic up. It means they are in a minority state. I can't do anything. So what Cisco recommendation is, you should also should have a one standby epic. So that standby epic will be like there, but it is not part of the cluster. Now what you can do, you just bring up this standby. So you will go to that standby cluster and you will say, hey, just join the cluster. So it will come and it will join the cluster. Now you will have 3 epic, then you can do the configuration. But let's suppose you don't have the standby epic, right? You don't have the standby, you have only 4 and 5 epic, and you want to do some emergency changes, whatever for some reason you have to do it. Now thing is, you can't do it now. What? And if you're doing it, so actually first of all you can't do it, right? Because you have only the read access, you don't have the write access. Now there is a one trick which is not publicly available, since I know it because I worked in. What you will do, you will log into the epic 4 and you will change its cluster size from 5 to 3. You can do it. Change the cluster size from 5 to 3. Then for the 3, the majority is needed 2, right? Then you can't do the configuration, but it is not that simple. I'm telling you,
What is
it's
the
not
way
that.
to change it?
Yeah, so in the GUI or in the through CLI you can do it. Forget about that how we can do it, but yeah, there is a one method. I'll show you while we jump into the GUI. At that time I'll show you, but it is not that easy to change that thing, right? And the reason is, I have a one slide with me.
Do we have to define cluster?
Yeah, so while configuring the epic, you will say, hey, my cluster size is 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, right? You have to
And,
define that.
and I will have to give the information of epic 1, epic 2, epic 3, 4, and 5 to that cluster.
Yes. Right.
And Deepak, one more thing, like
See, you
you're
see here,
teaching us.
target size is 3, current size is 3. So what is that cluster size? So where I'm checking on the system, this is the GUI picture. Okay, so this is a GUI of the epic system under the controller. What I'm checking is my target size is 3 and cluster size is 3. Now can be used to change the size. See, there's an option through which you can change the size. Now, nothing is, it's not that easy. Like the thing I'm explaining you, it's not that easy because there is something called a distributed database. So things are little complex here. There is something called the distributed database. Yeah, before we jump into this slide, yeah, Darshan, you had some question, right? Can you
Yeah.
come again, please?
So I know you are giving us some hint. Better you also cover that interview questions, which can be asked in ACA as well, right?
Yeah, so the one is this majority and minority
Yeah,
question.
majority, yeah. So I'm just saying it like
So
cover as much
the
as
question,
you can
the
cover.
question is, yeah, the question is like that. And you must be heard of some majority and minority concept in the epic. Now, why that is important, right? So the
Okay.
answer for that question is the majority. If the number of the epic, if my size of the cluster size is 3, the majority is 2. If any point of time the 2 epics are up, and so it means I can write down into the database. So for writing down in the database, the epic should be in the majority state. Now, if the epic is in minority state, then they cannot write down in the database.
Okay.
Right? So yeah, that is the question. Now see, thing we discussed yesterday about the database, right? Now
Deepak, I
like,
have a query.
yes Nisha.
If we have 7 or 9 ACI, right? Or
Epic,
classical.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
epic. So if we forget that point,
Which point?
majority. So how can we check the majority?
No, so you will not have, you will forget it, but the Epic will not forget it. So,
How can we check?
before pushing, yeah, before
If we
pushing
have
the
7 epic, right?
uh-huh.
And we
Uh-huh.
have already implement that, but we need to cross verify or check it. So how can it check? How
So
do we check?
yeah, so the check is like this one only. I'll show you in the troubleshooting and verification, but if you are asking me this, yeah, see troubleshooting and verification, I have added this option. So you see this one, Epic 1, Epic 2, and Epic 3. So this should be in a fully fit. See, all, if the fully fit, it means all services are up. So if you have 7 Epic, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all should be available. It means all they are in available, they are in service, and they are fully fit. So it means fully fit, it means their database is sync. So that's where you can check it. And other thing is, if you don't check it and you are configuring it, if the Epics in minority state, it will not allow you to save the config. There will be no option to save. Only read access will be
Out
there.
of 7, if 3 or 4 are showing down, then what we need to do?
For what? Like, what you need to do for what? You
Out
want
of
to do?
7, 4 epic are showing down. How can we identify it and how can we troubleshooting?
Troubleshooting those Epic which are up, right?
Yes.
How to bring it back? Yeah. So Nishant, for that, this is, first of all, we need to see how the Epics are communicating together, right? If for this slide, so this is Epic 1, this is Epic 2, Epic 3. So how the Epic 1 communicate with the Epic 2? So we need to understand first that, and then only we can. So see this Epic 1, how it will find out if Epic 2 is up or not.
No,
How Epic 3 is up or
if
not.
it's showing 1 to 4 is down, okay, and 5th, 6th, and 7th are up. So what is the troubleshooting step and how can we identify or implement other things?
Yeah, so that is what I'm telling you, right? If the 5, 6, 7 is up, they are down. It means 5 cannot talk to the 4, right? Or 5 cannot talk to the 3, 5 cannot talk to the 2, 5 cannot talk to the 1. Now, but we need to understand first how those Epic communicate together. Right? That is what we need to first
understand. I think that's what he's asking, how the things will be implemented. Now, no things will be implemented because the majority is not there, majority status.
No, so you can't do the configuration because there are 3 Epic, but his question is how you will bring back, how you will troubleshoot why 1, 2, 3, 4 are down, why 5 cannot communicate with 4, why 5 cannot communicate with 3, right? So that is his question. That is what we need to discuss, right? First ki how Epic 1, Epic 2 ये आपस में बात कैसे कर रहे हैं, right? Maybe through ICMP or through LLDP, how they are communicating. Right? So they communicate.
My question is 5, 6, and 7 are up and 1 to 4 are down, right?
Right. Yes.
So if we need to check, it's showing 1 to 4 are down and 5th, 6th, 7th are up. Okay. So if we need to check the majority, so what is the step? How can we identify and how can we check?
Nishant.
Yeah.
Total 7 Epic controller are there. You are able to say कि 1, 2, 3. Total 3 are down. So by default, if it is greater than 50% Epic are up, it's mean majority are up.
No, so I think his question is I understand his question is like कि मेरे पास I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know how many, like 7 Epic, right? Out of this 7, random 3 are down. Maybe 1 is down, 4 is down.
4 is down. He's saying
4
the majority is down.
Yeah, majority is down. So
Yes.
how he will find out if he has the majority or not, right?
Yeah, on
So
the
first of
concept
all,
which
yeah,
is
first
Yes.
of all, if you are going to do some configuration, it will not allow you to save it.
Okay.
Right? So while doing some configuration, it means you want to push some VLAN to some leaf, right? You will do some policy. So it will not allow you to create the policy. That is the first point. Second point is you can the health. There is one section called health of the fabric.
Yes.
You
Yes.
see, yeah, this is the health of the fabric. So the health of the fabric will be degraded, and you can check why those health is degraded, right? And then you can run a show controller command, and then later you can find out. But the main thing, like if you are saying, hey, I don't want to come to the system setting, let's suppose I'm directly jump into the tenant and doing some configuration. Now it will not allow you to save those configuration. It will not allow you to write down into the database, because the database is down. Basically the database is only read access, there's no write access. Yeah, does that answer, Nishant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, one more last question.
Yes, Krishna.
Suppose there is a network running and my controller or Epic is connected to Leaf. They're communicating well.
Mhm,
Suppose Epic is down.
mhm.
So can we take direct access to my these Leaf switches?
Yeah, you can log in directly to the leaf, but you can't do any configuration. Your data
Okay.
plane will not be impacted. Your control plane on the leaf, like if your BGP is running, right? So here, if you are running with some router, some routing protocol, BGP or OSP or whatever you are running, so
Mhm.
that will be remain up. It's just like if you want to do some configuration, that you can't do it.
Okay. So means if I'm taking direct access to that switch and I cannot do configuration.
Right. So configuration anyway, you can't do it even though the epics are up.
Okay, once
For the
controller is
configure,
deployed,
yeah,
once controller is deployed in network, then changes can only done with the help of the Epic.
epic controller. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Even the minor configuration, let's suppose you want to say, hey, I want to change the switch name. Can I do directly log into the switch? No, you can't do it. You need to log into the Epic, and Epic will push that configuration. It's like that simple.
So control
Any, yeah,
total work of total control plane work will be handled by only Epic.
I would say configuration, but the control plane is still sitting on the leaf, like BGP, OSPF, LLDP, LACP. Those control plane is still on the leaf. It's just like the configuration part you have taken, you are pushing it from the Epic.
Okay, thank you.
And then one more thing, Deepak,
Yeah, that's right.
we all concerned about Epic and Leaf, right?
Mhm.
What is the function of spine?
Yeah, spine is to give you the connectivity. There will be no data plane on the spine. It's just for the connectivity.
Okay.
And there is something called the COOP database, which is sitting on the spine. We will come that later on. It is a unique property of ACI, right? And they are using that thing very perfectly, and it saves a lot of flooding in the data center. So what is that? We will come into that. But the main thing here is, if you're asking me in the VXLAN, does spine do anything? No, it's just sitting and it's providing you the connectivity. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and
So
then
that's,
even
yeah.
that architecture overcomes the VXLAN fundamentals, right? So we no need to go through with the VXLAN, that overcomes that spine and leaf.
Yeah, so the VXLAN forwarding is like 90% is same in ACI. It's just like they have added some new flavor to the VXLAN. They modified some minor thing in the VXLAN.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the forwarding perspective, the configuration wise, it's pretty much same. It's same like the VXLAN.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. Okay. So yesterday we discussed. I showed you this topology, right? This one. So every epic has the this database, right? So this is epic A. So the database is, let's suppose, A. This database is also A, and this database is also A. So meaning is like they are sharing the same database, right? So as a user, you can log into any of the epic, epic 1, epic 2, epic 3. So let's suppose some user log into the epic 3 IP, and it modified the database to A plus B, right? It did add some configuration to that database. Now it's a epic 3 responsibility to update the database of epic 2, update the database of the epic 1. Now after update, then they will be in a sync again, and they will be in a fully fit again, right?
Can you please repeat it?
Yeah, so sure, just a minute. So this is the database. So this is database A, this is database A. I'm telling like the content of, let's suppose, this database is A, right? So even though this database is huge, it's in some GB, it's not that small database, because it's actually saving all the things about the epic. Even a minor power supply voltage for fluctuation or anything, it will be under that database. And there are use cases why Cisco is doing that, because you don't need to log into each switch. So that is what, right? So what I'm saying is, like, they have this database, which is a database. Now some user log into the epic 3 and he modified the database, adding some more configuration to this database. So let's say this database will be A plus B. Now it is epic 3 responsibility to update the database of epic 2 and to update the database of epic 1, right? It's the epic 3 responsibility, basically. Because why? Because the user logged in into the epic 3 and he modified the database. So epic 3 has to modify the database of epic 2 and epic 1.
Okay, actually, okay.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so right, so okay, so this is what we discussed right yesterday also, that what if all the epic goes down? So no impact to your control or the data plane traffic. So control and data plane traffic will remain active on your leaf switches. Now this is the ACI fabric physical overview. That's how your fabric, ACI fabric, is connected. You see these 3 epic here. Now you know why we are 3, why they are not 4 epic, right? So the 4 epic, the majority should be like 3. So it means at a time 3 epic should be down. So why should I deploy 4 epic? Either I would go with the 5, or either I would go with the 3. Now why customer will say, hey, can I deploy 3 epic? Yes, you can deploy 3 epic, but if you need more number of leaves, so it means if you need more number of leaves here, let's say in my data center I will deploy 200 leaf switches. So for 200 leaf switches, you need minimum 9 epic, right? So 9 epic. Now with the 3 epic, you can have maximum up to 80 switches that include leaf and spine, right? So it's a limitation, like how many leaf and spine those epic can manage. It's the number of the epic. So if you increase number of epic, it means you can manage more number of epic. So for a very large customer, sometimes you will find 5, sometimes you will find 7. I never found more than 7 epic, to be honest, right? So
on epic side, how many ports we have on that server, that also matters, right?
Ports connected to the leaves?
No, like on a switch port we have 48 ports and something like that. On epic,
right,
we also have some ports. Epic
ports to
server.
Yeah, epic server port to connect to the leaf, you mean, right?
How many? No, port that we can connect, but actual, how many is it? Is it like a switch?
No, it's a server. It's a server.
No, server, but there should be physical ports, right, which can connect to the leaf.
Yes. So maximum you can connect 2 only.
2 ports from each epic, right?
Yes.
So can we create ether trunk LACP on that epic?
No. Okay.
And usually how many ports on that server?
Only 2 ports. One is connected to one leaf, another is connected. So if you say,
no.
Usually there are 4 ports. There are 4 ports. So out of 4, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, at a time you can connect 2 ports to the fabric.
So you mean on Epic server we have only 4 ports?
Yes, and that I'm talking about the newer L3 M3. I mean third generation of the Epic. So in third generation of the Epic, you will have 4 ports, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can't connect first and second port to the Epic. So either connect first or third, or second or fourth port.
So in that case, if we have very less ports on the Epic, then Epic count should be high, right? In the main data center.
High in the sense like what?
You said only 2 ports we have in the Epic controller which can connect to Leaf.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If one Epic is, you can consider one Epic, then only 2
Yes.
leaves can be connected, right?
Right. Yes.
Then with that way we have multiple leaves, multiple Epics.
Yeah, but why? But you don't need that every leaf should be connected to the every Epic. That's not the limitation. So if you see this topology, right? This topology here. So Epic 1, Epic 2, and Epic 3. So where they are connected to leaf 1 and 2 only, right? They are not connected to 3, 4, 5, 6. None of the port connected to 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you want to push that configuration on this leaf port, right? So the configuration will push from leaf 1 to the spine, and then it will go to that leaf.
Okay. I thought yesterday you said each Epic is connected with all of the leaves.
No. So only leaves are connected to all the spines.
Okay.
You don't need to connect the Epic to all of the leaf. Generally, this is the right way. Generally, you will connect to leaf 1 and leaf 2 only. But nowadays, you are connecting your Epic 2 to leaf 2 and 4. So if that is possible, you can do it, right? Why? Because if those 2 leaf goes down, basically you will lose the connectivity with the Epic. But that will be very rare case anyway, right? So this is the right way to do it. That connect you all the ports to the leaf 1 and leaf 2.
And then one more thing, in the leaf part, do all the devices are in same series, same iOS, same something?
No, they can be in different hardware version, but software version wise, Cisco recommend that put that into the same version, but it can be in different version.
Okay. Yeah. Like in VPC, we need both are in the same.
So iOS. VPC wise, yes. So
yeah.
VPC wise, you need a same version, but if they are not, so it means like these 2 switches are in VPC, the version should be same. Now, if these 2 VPC are in a same version, the version should be same, but these 2 can be in different version also.
So in that case, VPC can't be built, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our Epic count totally dependent on our leaf count, right?
Yeah. So with the 3 Epic, you can manage 80 switches. So and obviously you will. So if let's suppose if some customer is saying, hey, can I deploy 2 Epic? Would you suggest him to deploy 2 Epic? No, right? Why? Because if that Epic goes down, you will not have, and you will think, hey, I will have the redundancy. No, you will have only the read access.
No, but I will divide them in 2 different clusters.
No, you can't do that. They can be only in one cluster. This Epic can be only in one cluster.
But you told me we can go with the second cluster, and that can act as a standby.
You can make as a standby, yes. So if there are 2 Epic, you make this Epic as a standby and this Epic as an active. So if this goes down, you need to go and bring this up.
So these standby and active will be part of same cluster or different cluster?
It will be the part of the same cluster only, but it's just like it is in standby. You can't do any configuration from the standby Epic.
Okay.
Once, so if this Epic goes down, then you can bring this up. Or you say, hey, I don't want to, like, you want to Epic cluster, right? Then also you can bring this up. It's not like Epic goes down, then only you can make standby as a active. No. So at any point you can make standby as active.
Automatically it will come up, or
no, you need to go. Yeah, you need to go and make that Epic as a standby to active.
Okay, and you last question. Suppose there are the 3 Epic, and you told us that if I am changing on A3, Epic 3, and it's a A3 responsibility that it will be in sync with A2 and A1, right?
Right. Yes.
Suppose I did some, what kind of changes mean? Any configuration changes on A3? If I want to change some configuration, okay.
Yes.
In
So
BG,
as a user, mostly you will do the configuration, right? Configuration wise changes, or maybe you will upgrade this switch, or maybe you remove this switch from the fabric. So that sort of changes.
okay, suppose I did some configuration changes on A3, and A3 will pass it to the leaf also. Okay, that do this configuration. And apart from this, A3 will give to A2 and A1. So will
Right.
A2 and A1 will also forward same information to that leaf that do the changes?
No. So first of all, so you as a log into the Epic 3. Now Epic 3 will go to Epic 2 and Epic 1 and write down in its database, and for that configuration. So let's suppose you are doing a BGP configuration, right? So you are doing some changes in this protocol. Maybe timer you are changing, maybe you are advertising some more route in this protocol, right? So first of all, Epic 3 you will log in, Epic 3 will go to Epic 2 and Epic 1, make those changes. It will write down those changes in the database, and one of the Epic will be responsible for that changes.
Only one.
Right. So it means like, so for this process, let's suppose Epic 2 is the leader. We called it as a leader. And those are followers. Now for which process I'm talking? I'm talking for the BGP, right? So let's suppose now you as a user, you are making some changes to the LACP. Maybe you are deleting the port channel, maybe you are adding the port channel, whatever, you are making some changes, right? Now for LACP, Epic 1 can be the leader, and Epic 2 can be, Epic 2 and Epic 3 will be follower. Now what is leader meaning? The leader will push that configuration towards that leaf. That's the meaning of the leader.
Okay, and it is on, it is for only leader can select, means I want to say that suppose Epic 1 is leader, so it will be leader only for LACP or some other protocol as well, like
So
BGP,
they are,
REST.
so yeah, so this total 32 services they have combined, right? So 32 services, meaning like service 1, service 2, service 3, service 4, we called it as a shard. It's an advanced topic. Actually, I want to cover little bit later, but as you asked, right, and I think it's the right time because you guys are, understanding this. So what I'm saying is like, let's suppose I'm giving one example. Okay. So you are, as a user, you are sitting on your workstation and you are logged into this Epic 3. Now you are making some changes for the LACP, let's suppose, right? LACP, you are making some changes in the LACP protocol. Whatever changes, let's suppose anything, you are moving the port channel or adding the port channel, right? There are so many changes, right? So for LACP, Epic 1 is the leader, Epic 2 is the follower, and this is the follower, right? Now it means, but you are logging through Epic 3. Now Epic 3 will write down the database of Epic 2, write down the database into the Epic 1. It means it will sync the database. But Epic 1 is the responsible who will push the configuration towards this leaf. So let's suppose you are adding one more port channel here into this VPC, right? So Epic 1, because why Epic 1? Because it's the leader. Now it's a leader responsibility that it will push to the configuration towards the leaf.
Okay.
Right? Now let's suppose you have 5 epics now. So like that, you have Epic 4, Epic 5. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now you as a user, you logged into the Epic 5. You same thing, you are doing a LACP configuration. Right? Now leader, now it will be not like now, so Epic 1 will be the leader, Epic 3 could be the follower, Epic 5 could be the follower. Now what is the meaning of this? Like, hey, I have 5 cluster, wouldn't be like Epic 2 be followers nahi banega kya? No. it will be like only leader and 2 followers. 1 leader and 2 followers. So if you have like 9 epic, then you will say, hey, a 9 epic, only 1 leader and 8 followers. No, 1 leader and 2 followers. Now, what is the thing why I'm saying like this only is because let's suppose this epic 1 goes down because of some reason it goes down. You are in a majority state, right? Why? Because the out of 5, 4 are up. Majority is 3, right? You are in a majority, clear majority. So epic 5 and epic 3 and epic 5, right? Out of those 2, they will become the leader and another epic will become the follower, right? Give me a few more minutes, and if you guys have any question, just come back to me. Now, let me go back to that slide which I was showing you earlier. Then you will understand there is some issue with the 5 epic cluster. What is that? It will be clear very shortly. Yeah, so that is what I'm talking about, the shards, right? Shard 1, shard 2, shard 3. So you see shard 1 leader is here, shard 2 leader is here, shard 3 leader is here, but shard 3 follower is here, shard 3 follower is here, right? One copy is active for every specific portion of the database. The database is replicated across epic. Now look at this diagram now. Okay, now this diagram is what it's saying is that in a single
Hi, you are watching the recording from one of our live session. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more future updates.
port scenario, what we are discussing, single port scenario, 3 epic, 2 goes down, this goes down, this goes down. Now this is my leader. Let's suppose green one is my leader, this is my follower, and this is my follower. Now this follower would not become a leader. Why? Because it is in minority state. Now if it is, it will not become a leader, it will be in a followers only, and it cannot push the configuration and it cannot write down into the database, right? Now go back now with the 5 epic. Now with the 5 epic, what will be happen? Now see the green one. Okay, so leader, follower, and follower. Now leader goes down, follower goes down. Now follower is here. Now this follower can become leader? No. Why? Because this shard is in minority state. But if you see the blue one, right? So this is, let's suppose this is my leader, this is follower, this is follower. Now this goes down. Out of this, one will become the leader, another will become follower, and this will become follower, right? Now this is for LACP. It means LACP configuration you can do with the login to the epic. Now let's suppose for the BGP, right? A BGP, this is the leader, this is the follower, and this is the follower, right? Now if the leader goes down, this one goes down. Now this is the follower, and it is in read only mode. So it means even though you have 3 epic up, you can't do the configuration of this protocol, right? So that's why with the 5 epic, if the 2 goes down, you will see the inconsistency in the configuration, right? Why? Because some of the configuration will work, some of the configuration will not work, right? So additional epic will increase the system scale up to 7, but does not add more redundancy. See, they have clearly written it, right? Hardware failure of the 2 nodes would cause inconsistency behavior across shards. Some will be in read only and some will be in read write mode only. So it means some of the configuration you can do, some of the configuration you can't do. Now the thing is, you may ask, hey, how I would know that if I'm, let's suppose you are doing a configuration of some protocol, how would you know that you can do the configuration or not, basically, right? So there is a method which is for that method to execute, you need a root access of this epic. Now root access is not available to the customer, it is available only to the Cisco, specifically Cisco TAC team, right? So Cisco TAC team only can log in as a root, and then they can check, hey, this configuration you are doing it, you can do like this configuration, you can do it or you can't do it, because there is a one Python script which can be executed with the root only. Now if you remember, when we discussing like change the cluster size from 5 to 3 or 7 to 3, whatever it is, right? I explained you. Now those things, if you do it like that, it make your database break, right? Because this shard here will not be replicated to here, right? So that's why it's not that easy. And what generally we do, right, when I was what we generally do, we manually copy this shard into epic 4 and epic 5, and making the shard as a in a leader and follower kind of a read write mode. So you need to manually copy those shards, right? It will not be automatically. You may ask, hey, why it's not happening? And so this shard is in read write mode only. Why they are not copying to epic 4 and epic 5, right? It is not automatically happen, but with the newer releases, like 5.0 release, which is just in this year they released, this thing happen automatically. Now it takes some time. So that's why if the 2 epic goes down, don't hurry, don't reload any of the epic, right? Because if you reload this epic, this you will lose the shard of this epic, right? So that's why give some time, around 30 to 40, or maybe in some cases 1 hour, if your database is so huge, right? Because they need to copy it from the epic 2 and other epic, right? So that's why if any of the epic goes down, don't reload the other epic, don't do any other stuff on the other epic, don't write, don't just do a read, don't make any changes on the database. Right? See, these are the very advanced topic I'm telling you. And the sharding concept is not a networking concept, I would say. You will hardly work in the sharding thing. It's just like I want to make sure that you understand how the epic database works, right? So it is like now a big database is break into the 32 shards, and each shard is replicated into 3 epics. So this is shard 1, this is shard 2, shard 3. So that is replicated across the other epic. Yeah. And any question around this?
I didn't understand that all shards concept. What is a mask? But I did not understand it.
I know, Darshan, because when someone explained me very first time this, or I was going through this reading, it's not easy to consume. And believe me, today, if anything happened to your shards, anything, even the Cisco TAC engineer, they don't have access to do anything with the sharding. So the copy thing which I explained, you manually copy from epic 4 to epic 5, they can't do it. They need to bring back, they need to bring the developer on the call. And it is written, well documented into the TAC guidelines. If you ask me, it is written in their guidelines that if anything happened to the database and you don't know what is happening, just bring back developers on the call. And for the sharding issue and for this database issue, none of the developer can not say no to you that, hey, I will not come to the call or anything like that, because it is so important. Because if you lose the database, it means you need to build your database from the scratch, and your whole fabric is just like there is no name to your fabric. And it had happened in many times in the customer environment. I remember one of the case for HSBC Bank, right? HSBC Bank, they lose the access of the database and they need to build their entire data center from the scratch, and somehow their backup was also not working properly, so they built all the configuration, EPG, everything from the scratch, right? So it is not easy, and why I'm you will hardly jump into this database troubleshooting or database thing. Why I'm explaining you, just to make sure that you guys understand there is a one database, and it is important if we are moving into the programming of the ACI fabric, because at that time basically you are accessing the database. Yeah, hello, yes, Krishan, do you have any question?
No, I'll have to repeat this video to understand, because I forgot all the things.
No, I'm absolutely I'm okay, because it is not easy to consume, and what I'm explaining you, maybe if you go through some any document, because they writing language is like they will make you comfortable in a that way. So just go through that documentation and you will find basically what I'm explaining you, that thing only. But believe me, as a customer, as a Cisco tech engineer, as a consulting engineer in a Cisco, in a vendor, I'm telling you, you will not able to touch this database, right? So if you are working, and if you know any case come to you and something is screwed up, now you need to call the developers only, and they will come and they will check the database. And sometimes it is even difficult for the developer as well, because we are, as a network engineer, we're not comfortable with this database thing, right? How the sharding happen, how they communicate, right? But why it is important, because sometimes we will work on this epic, right? So sometimes you will say, hey, we have 5 epic, 2 goes down, I am in a majority state, I'm doing some configuration, but that configuration is not getting applied onto the fabric, right? Now maybe the configuration which you are applying, that leader is in minority state, right? Because the other 2 are down. So what you need to do, your epic will be in fully fit state, right? But your leader is in minority state. So the configuration, you are doing a configuration, and that configuration will take care by that leader, but that leader is in minority state, so you can't do any configuration. At that time you will realize, hey, so maybe you will say, yeah, what is happening? Maybe I should reload the epic or anything, or what should I do, right? So don't do anything, I would say. Don't make any changes. And sometimes you will hardly face, maybe because out of 32, maybe some of the service are impacted, right? So out of 32, maybe 5 service are impacted, and for 5 service, those are in minority state. And there is a command through which you can check which services is in minority state and which service is in majority state. I'll tell you. But I hope you guys understand what is this database kind of thing in the ACI. Okay, so we have talked enough here. Yeah, this is the ACI physical topology.
Deepak,
No, yeah.
I
Yes,
have
Nisha.
one query.
Mhm.
If you are talking about 5 ACI, right?
5 APIC, yes.
Please write down it. Then I will.
Yeah. Just go ahead. Yeah, please.
And if 1 and 2 are down, what is the process of recover 1 and 2? Epic.
Okay. Yeah. So if 1 and 2 are down because of some power issue, then then obviously you need to bring that power. But let's suppose it's not down because of power. Maybe some process issue, maybe some hardware issue or software issue on that epic. So basically they are down in terms of like 3 cannot ping 1, right? 4 cannot ping 1 and 5 cannot ping 1, or there is no reachability.
No, I understood that topic. Okay. I'm saying that we have 5 epic, right? And 1 and 2 are showing down. So what is the troubleshooting step? How can we identify it's a software issue, it's a hardware issue, and how can we do troubleshooting to recover that 1 and 2?
Right. So first of all, from 3, you will check if you have the connectivity or not to the epic. Right. So the connectivity, like how they communicate. So they have the out of band, but they communicate through the in band.
No, if we are able to log in epic, right? Epic interface, and there is showing 1 and 2 are down, 3, 4, and 5th are up, and 3, 4, 5th are good condition. Okay. Then what we will do for one?
Yeah. So you will ping from Epic 3. You will ping from Epic 3 the Epic 1 IP and check if it is reachable or not. Let's suppose the ping is reachable, right? So let's suppose the ping is reachable and Epic 3 can reach to Epic 1, Epic 4 can reach to Epic 1, 5 similarly, and same thing for 2, but still they are not coming into the cluster, right? That is, I think that is your question, that they are not forming the cluster. So what you will do now, I'll show you one where it is. Yeah. So in the troubleshooting and verification, see this command AV read. Just execute this AV read command on your Epic and it will check, see what is the version of Epic 1, what is the version of Epic 2, what is the version of, so the version should be matched. If the software version does not match, then they will not come into the cluster.
Okay.
Right? They will check what is the health wise status of Epic 2, of all the Epic. They will check the flags, if they are certified or not, right? They will check if they are active in the fabric or not. Now, apart from that, there is also one command ACI DAG verify Epic. Maybe some issue with the SSL certificate, right? SSH is not able to perform, right? So those are the things you will do it. And yeah, so but I'll come into that troubleshooting later on.
And then one more thing. If you said there is a version mismatch, right?
Yes.
So can we, from one Epic to another Epic, can we upgrade or downgrade one of the Epic iOS?
Yes. You can do it. Yes.
Okay. Either we can
but
degrade or we can
but
upgrade.
the thing is, but the thing is, that actually that is a good question, because what you are saying is, hey, 1, 2, and 3, so they are in a cluster, but Epic 3 is not coming into the cluster because of the version mismatch.
Yeah.
Right. So version mismatch maybe. So first of all, that will be a very rare case, because if you are upgrading the Epic, right? Let's suppose you are this Epic 3 are in a cluster and you are upgrading the Epic from some version, let's suppose 3.2 to 4.1. Now you can't say, okay, I will upgrade Epic 1, Epic 2, I won't upgrade Epic 3. No, there is no way. So while upgrading the Epic, you don't need to select, okay, which Epic I will upgrade. You will say upgrade the Epic and it will upgrade
all of.
It will upgrade all the 3 Epic.
Because if we are pushing any package, it will directly reflect on
all the 3 Epics.
Yes.
Right. Now, but there may be a chance, let's suppose this Epic 3 goes down for some reason, right? Maybe some hardware issue. You reach out to the Cisco and they provided you the RMA. Right? They provided you the
My question is, if we are checking 1 and 2 are up and 3 are down due to some hardware issue, so how can we identify there is a hardware issue?
So Epic 3, you can, so in Epic 3, you can log into the console.
First of all, we need to log in on Epic, right?
Yes, Epic 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can log in through out of band, maybe through console, server console, ILO, maybe if you have heard of ILO or KVM. Those are the server thing. I'll show you. I have in my this one. See, this is the console of this server. So you will connect this dongle, laptop and keyboard and mouse, and this window you will see. So you will log into this and basically you will log into the CIMC of the server. So CIMC is this screen here. You see this is the firmware of the server. This is not Epic OS. This is the CIMC of the server, and through that you can identify, basically you will go to the moderate fault section and you will find out if there is any hardware issue. Maybe the RAM is down, maybe storage related issue, maybe anything, right? So you can find out while logging into the CIMC. If it is a software related issue, then log into the Epic OS, do SSH through out of band, or through the console, right?
And if we need to upgrade the iOS, or if we need to install first time in 3 Epic for iOS installation, so how can we
Right.
do
So
that?
yeah, so basically that example, right? This one
We have
example
a
only. So
new data center, okay,
mhm.
and we have 3 Epic, so we need to install iOS. How can we do that?
So first of all, the Epic OS will be automatically installed by the Cisco once you order it, right? But through console also you can install it, like ISO image. Just connect a pen drive or map the ISO image, and you can upgrade the Epic OS. You can do
We will do by
through that.
command, right?
Not by command, through the console, like just like how you install the Windows Server, how you install the operating system on your laptop through the USB, right?
Okay.
So just like you need to connect the USB, and through USB it will boot the OS. But
Okay.
it will be a like a re-imaging, right? Meaning all the configuration, all the database will be deleted.
Let's suppose we have 3 Epic and we have checked 3.2 version is available on that Epic, all 3
Mhm,
Epics. Okay.
mhm,
But we
mhm,
need to push 5.2.
mhm.
What is the process?
So yeah, process wise is like ACI upgrade matrix. You need to go to the Cisco site, and they will give you the path, like from 3.2 how you can go to 5.2, maybe some intermediate release 4.1, right? So it depends like how you want to do it. You want to log in through the Epic, or you want to delete all the configuration, like re-imaging the Epic and then do the configuration. So let's suppose you have the access to the Epic, then through Epic there's a method through which you can do a upgrade,
No,
and that
if
we will.
if customer is asking to
Mhm,
deploy 5.2,
mhm.
okay, and we have deployed 5.2, so we need to configure it again and all configuration again, or it will directly reflect after migration.
It will directly reflect. You don't need to do anything.
We don't need to do.
Yes, obviously, yes. Okay, so that is all we discuss about the Epic. Right?
Sir.
Yes,
If
Krishna.
if software version is mismatched, then what kind of issue can be there?
They will not form the cluster.
Okay. And how these API know each other?
So they connected through in-band, right? Meaning through this communication, right? So Epic 1 will able to reach to this Epic 2 via in-band
Is there any routing protocol or something else with the?
through LLDP protocol,
Okay.
link layer discovery protocol. Yes.
Then they are exchanging their information, like what kind of software images they are running. They will pass
Yes.
this information through LLTP.
Yes. Right. Yes. The chassis ID also they will pass. So other from the other thing as well, they will pass.
Okay. And these API can be on cloud also, or on only on premises basis.
Yeah. So right now, like with 5.0 release, they can be in the cloud as well. The Epic OS can be in the cloud as well, but there is a hardware stack which is pre-built on the cloud, and you can't say, hey, I don't need that much of RAM, I don't need that much of thing. So if you reach to the AWS or Google Cloud and say, hey, I need to deploy the Epic OS, they will give you pre-built hardware stack that is Cisco stack only, and then you will install the Epic OS on top of that. But through that you can manage only your on-premises data center only. You can't manage the cloud infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Deepak,
Mm-hmm.
I have one doubt. If we
Mm-hmm.
are upgrading the iOS, then we need to configure it again, na?
No.
Because like a example, if I am formatting my laptop, okay,
So you are not formatting. See, there are two methods. You are upgrading it. So like Windows, you are upgrading it, right?
okay,
So, but if you are reimaging it, meaning deleting the Windows 8 and installing Windows 11 from, you are booting the iOS from the USB. In that case, your hard drive will be clean reloaded, and then your whole data will be lost, and the Windows 11 will be installed. So
Yes,
like
yes.
that, the same option in the Epic, right? Either do upgrade or do a reimaging. So
Okay.
right, so why would the customer would do a reimaging, right? They will, obviously they will do it, the upgrade.
So if we need to upgrade, we don't want to do any configuration again.
Yeah, because your data will remain same in the database.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the thing. You will log into the Epic and you will configure the policy. So policy is nothing but the configuration, and basically you will push those configuration to the Nexus series of switches, right? So if you see this arrow, log into the Epic, configure the policy, and those policy will be pushed to the Nexus series of switches. Now, how you can log into the Epic? Now there are many methods, but like one is through web browser. Do HTTPS to the Epic IP and this Epic IP, and it will give you this Epic GUI, right? So this GUI it will give you, or you can log into the SSH, the like the traditional method we used to, right? Just do SSH to the Epic, and it will give you the CLI. So it's not like through Epic. So whatever you can do from the Epic, you can do it from the CLI. But the thing is, like CLI of the Epic is not that simple, or it's not that straightforward. Which are we like go to that interface, do a show port channel or something like that. It is a little bit complex, right? And that's why most of the time you will see that we will do the configuration from the Epic GUI as well. But there is a third method also through REST API, right? So if you say, hey, I have a Python or a Postman or a Ansible, through that you can push your configuration to the Epic, or you can get the data from this Epic, and it will show you. So there are three methods through which you can log into the Epic, right? So that is all about the Epic, which we discussed, right? So Epic, three cluster, they form the Epic, and how they are connected to the leaf and spine. Now let's discuss a little bit about the policy. Now, what is the policy? Now, policy is like if I give you this example, like a mobile phone, right? uh, this mobile phone don't have any identity if there is no SIM card. It means, can you work on mobile, or can you make a call on this mobile without a SIM? No, right? So you need a one SIM card on that mobile. So what is the SIM card? SIM card is nothing but it gives you the identity to this mobile. Now it's the same concept in this, in UCS. I'm not sure if how many guys you are familiar with UCS. So UCS B series server for Cisco, there is there's a thing called the service profile. Now, what is service profile? Service profile is like network policy, storage policy, and compute policy for this server. Now, if let's say in a chassis, if there are 8 server, it means I would have 8 service profile. Now, if those 8 servers are same identical kind of thing, from a one service profile, I can basically clone and I can quickly deploy those service profile on 8 those servers. So for one of the server, I need to create those network policy, storage policy, and compute policy. But for those other 8 server, I will just click it and I can deploy those 8 servers policy in a one go. Right now, what is the benefit of creating this service profile? Right now, let's suppose this server goes down. So what you will do, you will take this server from the chassis and you will insert the new server inside the chassis, and basically you will provide the same service profile to this server. Now by doing that, basically you can deploy a server in a couple of minutes, right? Why? Because the same network policy, same storage policy. Network policy means same IP address, same MAC address. Earlier this was not the case, right? Because each server has its own burnt in MAC address, right? But now we are saying here, don't use that address, we will give you that address here. Now similar thing, whatever we discussed in UCS, right? Similar thing in the case of application on the ACI. So ACI give the identity to this interface. So let's suppose this interface, you are going to connect some server, right? Now, basically you will construct a policy on this epic, and that policy will be pushed to this leaf here. Oh, sorry, not this leaf, the leaf here in the downstream, right? So this policy, so it gives the identity to this port. Now, what kind of identity you will give to that port? Meaning the VLAN, right? This server is in which VLAN, the speed, the spanning tree BPDU filter, the storm control, LLDP, CDP, port channel. Maybe you are configuring a port channel here, right? Maybe you are configuring a VPC here. So you are giving the identity to this interface here. Now that is called as policy. So basically from the API, whatever you create, you will create a policy, and that policy will be pushed to this leaf here, right? Now what is the benefit of this policy, right? So the heart of the ACI is policy. Now what is the benefit of the ACI policy is, I have a one web server here, put a 3 server here, okay? So this is my web server, this is my DB server, database server, and this is my app server, right? So now what I'll do in ACI, I'll create a one policy for my web server. Now that policy I will call as EPG endpoint group. It means this is my endpoint. Endpoint is like web is my endpoint, and the device is connected, right? So endpoint. So EPG stands for endpoint group. Now what is that? We will discuss so much in detail. Just think about that. EPG is nothing but the configuration. So it is, I'll create a one EPG where I will say, hey, VLAN number 10 is there with a speed is 10 gig, right? And some other configuration here, right? Storm control, whatever you think about, those configuration is there. Now this EPG, I will give a name to this EPG. I'll give a name as web EPG. Now similar thing I will do for my app EPG, right? I'll say, hey, EPG is my app EPG, and it is in VLAN, let's suppose 30, and speed is 40, right? Now what is the benefit of creating this thing is, like, let's suppose app team requesting some more server, right? So it means they are requesting some more port here. Now do I need to do the configuration again? No, right? But I'll do, hey, this port I'll put into this EPG, and it means on this port VLAN 30, and speed and whatever other policies are applied, it will be applied on that port. So I will immediately, configure those things. Now that's the beauty of the ACI, right? So just you need to configure your policy at only one time, and then you can reuse it. Now you want, hey, web team wants to communicate with app team, right? So what you will do, you will create a one contract between EPG web and one contract between EPG app. You will say contract is created between web EPG and app EPG. Okay. Now this contract will say, hey, allow the traffic. Contract is nothing but the ACL. You can think about contract is ACL. It's near about ACL, but not exactly ACL. Okay. So you will say, hey, ACL, I'm allowing the traffic between the web and app. Now they can talk to each other. Now, whatever you are doing it, like creating the EPG, creating this EPG, creating this contract. So remember, again, you need to do it from the Epic. So you will log in on the Epic, and through Epic, you will basically push that configuration towards the leaf. Now this is nothing but the policy. So whatever you will configure it on the ACI is nothing but the policy. So this diagram, which I'll show you right now. See, this is what, right? So this is web, this is app, this is DB. Now you want web communicate with the app. Basically what you will do, you will configure a contract, right? So this is the what, this is what. So typical application without ACI. So without AC. So with ACI, what you will do, a contract. You will apply a contract between web EPG and app EPG and DB EPG. But without ACI, you need a firewall. So you will pass the traffic via firewall and then through the app, basically. Right? So everything is the ACI. Now, if I talk about the ACI policy model, there is one tenant. There's a the tenant you can think about as like a VDC, right? So VDC, I'm not sure like how many of you are comfortable in the VDC. VDC is like a virtual device context. It's a Nexus 7K concept, where you will create a logical switch. So out of one 7K device, you will create a multiple 4 or up to 8 VDC. You can create it. So think about tenant is a VDC. So how it is like if you're creating a MAC address table in VDC A, the MAC address table is different in VDC B, right? Similar, like if you're creating a VLAN number 10 in VDC A, you can create another VLAN or maybe the same VLAN 10 in VDC B, right? So VRF is the same VRF. Bridge domain, think about it is like a subnet. It's not equal, but think about like a subnet or SVI. Endpoint group, it's like a broadcast domain, or think about it's like a VLAN, like a private VLAN, right? So between two EPG, EPG1 and EPG2, you need a contract basically. Right? Don't think like we have covered tenant, we have covered VRF, we have covered EPG. We will going to cover this thing into so much detail. Right? I'm just giving you the example, like what is the policy and what are those things, right? So yeah, so that is all about this policy. Now, what is this zero trust default security? Is like without contract, by default there is no communication between the endpoint. So if I'm saying, hey, web EPG can communicate with the app EPG without contract, no. So they need a contract, right? So you may say, hey, this is VLAN number 10, this is VLAN number 30. I have created SVI 10 here, and I have created SVI 30 here, right? So it means the traffic will come into from VLAN 10, SVI 10, SVI 10 will send it to SVI 30, and then it will go to the app. No, this communication will not happen, though you have the inter VLAN routing, right, which is enabled. So if it is a traditional, if it is a switch, right, NXOS switch or whatever the switch it is, web can communicate with the app. But in ACI, since this web is in web EPG, this app server is in app EPG, and since both are different EPG, they cannot communicate with each other. You need a contract, right? Like without contract, they can't talk to each other, right? So that is what this slide is telling you, right? Without contract. So this is EPG green, this is the EPG blue. Now you want to contract? No, without contract, you can't do it. Now contract will be, you will say, hey, I want to allow only this traffic, right? I want to allow TCP 8080 or TCP 80 traffic. Then you can allow. So you can say here, hey, web can access only the app on a specific port 123. Then you can put that. So other traffic will not be allowed in that. So you can say, hey, do I need a firewall in that case? No, you don't need a firewall, right? So earlier this task was done by the firewall, but now it will be done by the ACI switch itself. So that's the the use cases, the benefit of deploying the ACI, and it's very easy. Now there is one concept called service graph. Now service graph, now you are saying, hey, I don't want to because I want to apply so many kind of rules, firewall rules, or you are saying, hey, this is my web server, and this is connected to your internet cloud or MPLS cloud, whatever it is, right? So that's where your internet user are present, right? So let's suppose this is your some Netflix server or some Hotstar streaming server, right? So let's suppose this is the case, right? So internet user will come in via internet and will go log into the web server. So obviously you will not allow that thing, right? You will say, I will allow that traffic pass through the some firewall, right? So what you will say, internet user come here, you can apply the contract. So there would be one EPG here and there would be one EPG here. So you will apply the contract between this EPG and this EPG, and you will say port 80 or whatever you want to allow, you can allow it, right? But the problem here is like, obviously there will be not a single rule here, right? There will be like a multiple rule depend on the internet user traffic, right? So internet user subnet. So for some of the user from, let's suppose this is Indian user, this user has what kind of subscription it is. So there are number of rules you will apply on the that traffic, right? So you can't do that thing on the contract. So what you will say, "Hey, I don't, it's okay, it's good that ACI is giving me this functionality, but I want that my traffic go pass via this firewall, which which is in my data center." So what you want, that traffic will come from internet user, it will go via firewall and then ultimately to your web server, and similarly the return traffic go via firewall and through the internet user. Now what you will do, you will deploy a one special contract. In this case, this EPG to this EPG, you will say whatever the traffic coming to this EPG, redirect that traffic to the firewall and then send it to the web server Netflix. So earlier the contract was talking through the fabric, but now it will go through the firewall. So that is this concept is called as service graph, and we will discuss that concept in detail. What is the service graph? Now maybe you say, hey, I want a load balancer here, right? A load LB, F5 load balance or whatever it is. So you say the traffic should go from internet user to firewall and then to the load balancer and then to the web server. So you can deploy as much as node you want to deploy on this service graph, and basically that is what it is, this slide is telling us. So don't worry, basically what is telling here, traffic coming from green go to the load balancer and then go to the ASA and then reach out to the blue. Or I think there was one, no,
Hey Deepak,
not. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. Is
yes,
there
Nishant.
any way to check the running traffic?
Running traffic in the, like from this EPG, between EPG green and EPG blue, if there is a traffic is running,
Yes.
yes, you can do it. Yes, and on which port it is running. Let's suppose you have allowed all the ports, but you are saying on which
Okay.
port it is running, you can do it. Yeah, you can check. There's a method through you can check.
Where we need to go for checking it?
So inside the EPG, there is one option I'll show you. On that you can check it. Operational and then the contract, then you can check it. Now see, so now you are saying, hey, ACI policy model, it's good that ACI is providing me the EPG thing, like EPG web, EPG this, but I don't like this, right? It's okay, it's giving me this functionality, but I don't want to deploy the similar thing in my data center. Can I use this ACI as a like a traditional network where
Hi, you are watching the recording from one of our live session. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more future updates.
we used to call VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30? Yes, you can do that, right? You will have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. It's just like inside VLAN 30 EPG, there will be only one BD. So they will communicate like that. So now VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, you need a contract basically, right? Because this is VLAN 10 EPG, this is VLAN 20 EPG. But this approach is called a network centric approach. Now see, we will discuss this policy model as we as we go, because whenever we doing some configuration, then we will basically configure the policy only, and then you guys will be understanding what I'm telling you. And now I have one slide in this module where we will go implementing the ACI policy. See this section, right, where we will discuss this in more detail. What are this EPG, what are this TAN, and how to construct this policy with this model, this access policy model and tenant policy model. And we will discuss not only through that, we will have this topology that we will build in our lab, right? So this all thing we will do it. So give me some some time, because today is practical is just like a first class only. And yeah, so that's all about today. We touched upon the policy section, and tomorrow we will discuss about the searches, and then we will do the fabric discovery. So that will be agenda of tomorrow. I'll show you.
Can we get this PDF, whatever it is?
Yeah,
PPT?
so I'll share this PDF with you guys, and you can have the access.
How will you share, through WhatsApp or something?
No, so you need to ask to the same email ID which you through which you have registered. We will share you the Google link, and through that you can download.
Okay. Thank you.